This is gonna be scandalous. Hey everyone, it's Upstart. Today I'm going to be doing something that I'm a little bit scared to do. I'm gonna be talking about some of my Minecraft unpopular opinions. Now this video is completely just to stir up some drama. No, I'm just kidding. This video is, of course, 100% opinions, but I wanted to discuss a couple of them with you just to see if you agree or disagree and what is your stance on these things. And of course, while we discuss these unpopular opinions, we're gonna be watching me play a little bit of Minecraft, so feel free to join along. Do what you will, and I hope you enjoy. So, my first unpopular opinion is that playing with cheats is not a big deal. I feel like a lot of you guys will probably agree with this, but I still know that a lot of players really are against playing with cheats, and this can be like keep inventory or peaceful mode or whatever, you know? Whatever you count as cheating. I feel like a lot of people are really against using any sort of cheats in their Minecraft worlds, like specifically in survival single player, and honestly, I've always felt completely the opposite. Nowadays in my like forever world, I don't use any cheats. I actually turned off keep inventory quite recently, and I've just been trying to play the game like the default way. But even so, I think using cheats like keep inventory or even playing on peaceful mode or spawning in items or like whatever is totally fine, because ultimately it doesn't affect anyone's experience except for your own, and if it makes it more fun for you, less stressful, or just a more easygoing gameplay experience, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't be allowed to use them. They're in the game for a reason, obviously, so there is sometimes a purpose for it. I've heard a lot of players in my comments who tell me that they use peaceful mode to build because they don't like being disturbed by monsters or even during caving adventures, and some people play with keep inventory or like maybe even go into creative to build something, which like that's just completely fine. So I don't know why people are so against it. Like, it's not the most legitimate way to play Minecraft, but like, does that really even matter? We have creative mode for a reason. It doesn't really make a big difference if you're playing like half creative, half survival, you know? I feel like that's just another way to play the game, honestly. Okay, my next unpopular opinion is, I think, really divisive, but I think old textures were better than the new ones. So if you didn't know, Minecraft had a complete texture overhaul a few years ago. I don't remember exactly what year it was, but it was a very controversial change back then, and there was lots of discussions going around it. And I think at first a lot of people immediately decided to say the old textures were better just because change is hard, especially at such a big scale as changing the entire look of the game. Not drastically, of course, but it still is a pretty major difference. I can always tell now when I'm watching someone play with like the old textures or the new ones, because to me, like, I really pick up on the differences as a player who has been playing since a very long time ago, back when the old textures was the norm for years. And honestly, at first, I really liked the new textures because objectively, I think they are a little bit cleaner and better designed. And I will say, I still don't completely agree 100% that the old textures were better, but I'm specifically talking about certain blocks that the new textures really bug me, and I don't like how they look compared to the old ones. For example, a major one is the like log textures for wood, planks, and even like cobblestone and stuff like that. I also don't really like the new leaf textures, and the reason is, one, I think partially biased because I do think I have that bias of being an older player who has been used to the old textures, but also for another reason, I feel like some of the textures are way too smooth. And I feel like this is actually something that a lot of artists criticize, especially as digital illustrators. One critique that a lot of us give to like beginner artists is don't overuse the airbrush tool, because it'll make your artwork look way too blurry and smudgy and just smooth, when in reality, our world is made up of a lot of hard edges and soft edges. I feel like the Minecraft textures, specifically some of the newer ones, really struggle with over blendingness, over smoothness, whatever you want to call it. But when I look at like logs and cobblestone and planks, these sort of main blocks, they really look way too smooth to me, so I don't like them. And I play with a beta style texture pack now in my like main world because I just honestly like how it looks more. I don't think all of the old textures were better. I think some of them definitely are better with the new textures, but I just feel like if you messed up on such major textures such as planks, logs, and cobblestone, I'm just not gonna use them, sorry. Anyways, my third unpopular opinion is that the Pale Garden is kind of lame. So, okay, for context, I have always been the biggest fan of all the Minecraft updates. I've always been super excited and made a huge deal out of every single one of them, and I've always been a Minecraft update enjoyer, and I've never ever ever hated on a Minecraft update because to me, it's free content. Free updates for a game that I love. I'm not gonna like complain over it. Even if I don't like necessarily love all the new features, like I'm sure we can all agree that sometimes they add kind of useless things and it can be a little bit better, but you know, it's okay. I've always looked past that. But I'm sorry, the Pale Garden update, I just don't get it. First of all, I am just personally not a big fan of the visual elements of this biome. I don't like the color scheme with the white and the orange and like the gray. I personally think it's very just ugly, but that is of course very much like a personal opinion. Well, I guess all of this is personal opinion. Anyway, so I also really just don't see the point of it. I feel like they're obviously going for like the spooky garden forest vibe, which I think would be really cool, but to me, I just feel like it was kind of not properly executed. Like to me, the Pale Garden doesn't really look or feel that like creepy. It just looks kind of lame and dead. And I also don't really like how it just kind of feels like a reskin of the Dark Oak Forest. Even though I'm pretty sure they're supposed to spawn like in Dark Oak Forest, but like still, I don't know. I feel like it was kind of a letdown of a concept, and also as an execution. I also feel like there's not really like a point in going into the Pale Garden. I mean, there's resin, which is cool, but I personally don't feel any sort of inclination to go out of my way to get it, so I'm not really sure like if I'm gonna be that interested in this Pale Garden once it comes into my world, because I haven't updated yet. But yeah, I'm honestly a little bit disappointed by the Pale Garden, which is kind of a first for me. But maybe once I try it out, I'll change my mind? I'm not sure. Just from kind of seeing the snapshots in videos and stuff, I was kind of like, man, why even bother? Okay, my fourth unpopular opinion is that the new combat system is so clunky. I feel like a lot of people have gotten used to the new combat system, and I know that a lot of people actually do prefer it. And obviously, I think a lot of the features that we got from the combat update was really cool, like the shields, and just kind of the new like gameplay mechanics that we can do with combat. But the one thing that really bugs me is the cooldown of using your weapons. I just don't like that break in combat. I feel like I'm just kind of, this is my combat preference from like video games, is always to be a little bit more fast-paced, and I don't like having major breaks in my like fighting, I guess. That's why I never play like snipers or shotgun characters in like FPS games. I really like just like a streamlined combat experience, and I feel like probably this is why I don't like the new combat system that much. I honestly have played with it for a very long time, obviously since 1.9 came out, and I gotten used to it, and I was like, okay, you know, it's fine, I'll play with it. But honestly, after kind of going back to like beta versions, older versions, and playing with the old combat system, I really prefer it. I know it's kind of silly because it's literally just like spam clicking, but I think it's just more fun. So yeah, I honestly wish maybe they at least gave us like a weapon that we can use, maybe like, I don't know, like a knife or something that you can just like spam click with, even if it does less damage. I probably would take less damage but faster like hit rate over like what we have now. Like I never use axes for combat. I'll still use the sword just because I don't like how long it takes. I feel like that opinion is probably not that unpopular, but this next one, oh boy. I think the mob vote was actually pretty fun. Okay, so I know that the mob vote is definitely something that most of us probably don't like in the community, but me personally, I never really had that much of a problem with it. Like, I just didn't, I think for me, I just didn't really take it that seriously. For me, it was just kind of like a fun little community event to participate in, and the concept of like voting something in as a collective community sounds pretty like fun to me. I don't know, like, because they're not really adding anything that crazy. It's just like one little mob. So I just always found it to be kind of fun to see what they're gonna put out and just vote. I didn't really think of it as much more than that. But after listening to a lot of the opinions online about the mob vote and the issues with it, I definitely think it was probably just for the best for them to end the mob vote because of the community's reaction to it. But I feel like just in concept, and even just for me, as like one single person, I really found it quite enjoyable and fun. But probably just in reality, it's one of those things that is just a little bit hard to execute, so I totally get why they got rid of it. Okay, my next unpopular opinion is that elytras should not be used. And I obviously mean that a little bit hyperbolically because I'm not telling you not to use an elytra if you like them, but my opinion is that I just don't like using elytras, and I never really use them in my own world, even though I have one. And the reason is for a couple reasons, actually. One of the reasons is that I just really like the other systems of transportation. I feel like the elytra just completely gets rid of the point of using any other mode of transportation. Like, why make a minecart rail or travel on a boat or a horse or anything like that when you can just use an elytra? Like, the one thing I'll give the elytra is that it's so much fun to use them, so I totally get why they're so popular, especially considering how fast they are to travel with. But I just wish that elytras had like a proper place to be used for, and then there would still be use cases for the other modes of transportation. But now it just feels like elytra is late game transportation and everything else is early game, and then after you get an elytra you don't have to use the early game stuff anymore. But I like using horses and I like going on minecart, like little minecart rail adventures, and I don't know, I just prefer to use those other modes. And also another reason is that the elytras, I think this is more of a Java issue because Java is obviously less optimized than Bedrock, but oh my god, traveling on an elytra, sometimes you just go way too fast and your chunks don't load in time and you're just like flying into freaking space, and then you just end up face planting into a mountain that didn't load in time and die. So yeah, kind of like I don't even want to use an elytra because it's just like my computer can't load things fast enough for me to use it, and I have a pretty good damn computer, so what the heck. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of elytras. I get why they're so popular, but I just wish that there was still a place for the other modes of transportation. I feel like the elytra just took all of that away from it. But anyways, my next unpopular opinion is that villagers deserve rights, and all of you who torture and trap and exploit your villagers, you should be in Minecraft jail. But seriously, I really don't like when people exploit the villagers and make them like weird trading breeding camps, and it's just like, come on man, they're the only sentient creatures in our Minecraft worlds. Show a little bit of respect. I don't know why they're so hated by so many people. Some people really hate villagers and go out of their way to kill them and torture them, and it's just like, why? I've never once went out of my way to hurt a villager, okay? I think this is probably because I have way too much empathy for fictional video game characters. Like, I will feel so bad if I see like a cat die in Minecraft, or like when my pets die, or when they get hurt, or anything like that. I feel just really like strong about those things for some reason, and I feel like that also goes for villagers because I see them as villagers, you know, people in a way. And they might not be human people, but they're still people to me. And I feel like when I come across villagers, I want to actually like befriend them and give them like a proper nice town to live in, and like bedrooms and fun activities to do, and like nice little farms. And this is the main reason why I decided to build my village project in my forever world, was to make a proper village for all my little villager friends. So yeah, it was actually just because I needed a couple enchanting books, but even just for a couple enchanting books, I went out of my way and made a whole village for them. So I feel like villagers deserve to be treated with respect by the Minecraft players, and obviously it's not that deep, but to me it is. My next unpopular opinion is that some people speed through the game way too quickly. I've actually had a couple friends that I used to play with in the past who were those type of players who would literally speed run the game and just fight the Ender Dragon like 2 days into the playthrough, and then everyone else is just kind of left behind. And I feel like this is probably more of an issue in multiplayer like servers. If you're playing with friends, you probably want to do things at your same pace, but if you're a single player and this is just how you prefer to play, obviously no hate, no judgment, play how you want, obviously. This is just my personal opinion as someone who plays the game pretty leisurely and slow. I just feel like there's a lot of things you can appreciate about the game if you kind of take your time with it. But of course, this is just completely my opinion, and I never want to encourage anyone to change the way that they want to play if that's how they want to play it. So take this opinion with a really big grain of salt, because I'm not telling you how to play Minecraft. It's just my opinion. Speaking of multiplayer, I'm of the opinion that single player is way better than multiplayer Minecraft. I know this one's gonna ruffle some feathers because I know that a lot of you definitely prefer to play Minecraft with your friends. But as someone who's always preferred to play single player, I just don't get it. I think for once this kind of stems from like my fear of losing my worlds, because I've played on so many multiplayer servers when I was younger and have lost my progress on a bunch of builds and just a lot of worlds that I really cared for, because it's a server and you can't really control where your builds go, and once a server decides to reset or shut down, it's kind of game over for you. You lose all that progress that you made. So one, I feel like that's a major thing that I don't like about multiplayer, is just how you can lose all of your work just like that. But also just from a gameplay perspective, I kind of just prefer to be by myself when I'm playing Minecraft. I'm not the type of player that feels really lonely or kind of like unsettled by a single player world. I feel like it's a lot more comforting to play by myself because I have full control of my gameplay and my experience, and I get to do everything exactly as I want to do it, which may sound a little bit selfish, but it's just kind of how I am. Although I'll say obviously playing with friends is super fun, and I have a lot of really nice memories of playing online with my friends and just strangers on Minecraft, but at the end of the day, I've always kind of just preferred going back to my single player worlds. Alright, we're nearing the end of my list, but I still have 2 more unpopular opinions to go through. My next unpopular opinion is that the Warden was a really big missed opportunity to have an awesome and unique boss fight. I know that Moying said that the whole point of adding the Warden was for it to be kind of like a mob that you would have to avoid and not fight, but like, I just feel like it's kind of counterintuitive to how we play the game. We're already used to seeing like the Ender Dragon and the Wither as these big mobs that we're supposed to kill to get something out of, so they kind of added the same concept. The Warden objectively is, the way you fight one is kind of like a boss fight, just a way harder one, honestly. But then why no use? I feel like it would have been a lot cooler to actually give us a reason to have to venture into these ancient cities and not just avoid the Warden, but actually challenge him and see if you can actually take him on and defeat him for some really awesome like reward or prize. Maybe even not a drop, but like an access to a new part of the ancient city that you can't get otherwise, that maybe has some sort of, I don't know, some sort of incentive, you know? I feel like the ancient city and the Warden is such a creative concept, and they really missed out with that whole thing of just having to avoid the Warden rather than fighting him. I don't know, that's just my opinion. I feel like there's definitely like 2 sides to this coin. And I totally understand the point of view of having it just be like a mob that you avoid, which I think is cool, but I feel like just having an awesome boss fight that has like a bunch of unique mechanics could be a lot cooler. Even like if he was like some sort of stealth boss, like you would have to fight him stealthily, I don't know, like sneak up behind him and take a few swings at him and then run away, or I don't freaking know, I'm not a game developer, but like, hey, I just think it would be cool. Because nowadays, like, I've been to the ancient city once to check it out, but I've never returned there because like, why would I? First of all, I'm terrified of the Warden either way, but at least give me a reason to, you know, face my fears, right? And my last unpopular opinion is that those who think Minecraft is boring / doesn't have enough of so-and-so are kind of completely missing the entire point of the game. I hear a lot of people complaining that, well, first of all, Minecraft is boring, or Minecraft doesn't have enough adventure mechanics, or this mechanics, or that, or this. There is a valid point to be made there, But at the same time, I feel like if you're just saying that Minecraft is boring because it's boring to you, maybe you're just missing the entire point of the game, because Minecraft is a sandbox and you're kind of supposed to make your own depth, your own fun out of it, not fully rely on the game to do that for you. Like obviously when we're playing like an RPG or a shooter game or any other type of game, we're kind of expecting the game to guide us through the fun and actually give us like depth and story and challenges to go through. But Minecraft is not one of those games. It's not meant to be this world that you like explore and dig up lore in. You have to make the lore for yourself. You have to find those adventures and make those stories for yourself. That's kind of the whole point of a sandbox. I mean, remember when we used to play in them as kids? We would build little sandcastles and make stories out of it. I'm not saying this as an excuse that the game is perfect and that it shouldn't be changed or improved in any way, because I definitely think that it should be. But if you're just flat out stating that Minecraft is boring and doesn't have enough depth, it's just like, man, are you even playing the game? Anyways, I feel like that's probably one of the most controversial opinions here, because like it's probably one of the most gray area subjects. So definitely let me know your opinions on this, and if you disagree, totally fine. Just, you know, keep it civil, because this is just my opinions. And I also acknowledge that I probably don't have like a full understanding of all of these discussions and topics. Like maybe I'm missing a very like valid point here in why Minecraft actually needs to be majorly improved in some way. But yeah, that's just kind of how I see it, and I would really love to know what your opinions on all of these were. If you would actually make like a list telling me if you disagree or agree with all of the points and why, that would be so cool. I just hope this doesn't start any fights, okay? We already have enough of those, so take it to Reddit. Anyways, that is gonna be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this little silly unpopular opinion thing. Let me know your own unpopular opinions, because I would love to do another video of this where I actually review your unpopular opinions about the game and see how I feel about them. So definitely tell me in the comments your unpopular opinions. Anyways, if you enjoyed, be sure to leave this video a like and check out my YouTube memberships if you want to support my channel and see some more exclusive content. I have a members only beta let's play going on, and all my members get to see my videos early, so go check it out. Anyways, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all next time. Bye!